Welcome to DCL Talk Show on DCL Radio. Today is July 11th. I have Jasneet, Imti, and Satish Gaba with me. And before we get into our quick analysis, I would like to, as usual, say thanks to all those umpires who did wonderful job before long weekend. Okay, with that, I will welcome. Let me welcome Imti. Imti, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jagan, and I would like to welcome all our listeners. Hope everybody had a good rest over the weekend and are ready and raring to go this weekend. So, welcome to all the listeners.
Okay, welcome to the show, Jasneet.
Thank you, Jagan, and welcome all the listeners all over the world into another exciting week of DCL Radio.
Okay, welcome, Satish.
Thank you, Jagan bhai, and thanks to the listeners. And I hope we'll have a good week.
Yep, we're going to rock tonight. And the first game of the night is TCA Knights and versus Risers. Okay, after a bang a week before for both the teams, Knights after registering a great wins. Again, the story is same. They lost. So, your thoughts, Satish?
Yes, Jagan, I think it was a one-sided game where Riser is winning easily against the TCA Knights. To start with, Riser won the toss and elected to bat first. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when TCA Knights started, I believe they started really good. They got Riser's opener very quickly, but later they have got Riser have got a good partnership between Naresh and Sheikh. Naresh got 13 runs and Sheikh got 24 runs. And after that, Rider at that point, Rider might have thought about having a bigger total than what they have ended up like 93. But they were having enough. But at the end, they were having enough to defend uh, Rider. 93 was against TCA Knight. I think they were pretty good. At, but at one stage, I think they were looking easily more than 100 around. But that's the thing. 93, I think against TCS Knight, Ryder was comfortable when they were going for a bowling. But if you talk about the TCS Knight bowling, Vignesh and Harsh was good with the ball. Vignesh got 19 run and got 3 wicket, and Harsh 13 run with 1 wicket. And I think rest all the bowler are average or it was just okay for other bowler. Other thing to note about the TCA Knights, they gave 21 extras, which is I think too much with this ball. Already, it's easy for batsmen to score, and on top of it, you are giving 21 extra. I think it was a little bit too much. And the second inning, when TCA Knights started with their bat, TCA did not had a good start. Both opener couldn't score. They got both over a 0 run. They could not score. After that, Chelam scored 10 runs, which is the highest from TCA Knight side, and rest all batsmen just couldn't score much to even give a fight to Riders while chasing. Rider, I think they had four good bowlers. So Rider did not even use the fifth bowler. They tried to finish TCA Knights in using four bowlers, and I think all Rider bowlers were really good and got wickets for the team whenever it's needed. Piyush and Ankush was exceptional out of those four bowlers. Piyush was 4 over 13 run and got 4 wicket, and Ankush 3 over 13 run got 3 wicket. And TCA Knights got all out before the break only. Like I think they played just 11th over and they got all out. They could not even succeed for the after the break. Overall, I think it was a one-sided game which completely dominated by Risers. Jagan.
Okay, the next game of the night is our Imti's game. Okay, FCC Agni versus Blazers. Quick thoughts, Imti.
Yes, Jagan. I think this game ended up to be a one-sided contest, I would say. We were expecting a close one in this game, but unfortunately it didn't turn out that way. FCC Agni won the toss and elected to bat and just scored like 44 runs, which is like below par considering the Agni team, like they are a very good unit with good bowling and batting attack. So I think a lot of credit for that performance goes to the bowling unit of Blazers, who were just relentless over after over and bowler after bowler. So if you look at the bowling, everybody were like very miserly in their bowling, and the economy speaks for it. So Anvesh had a very good outing, who bowled like 4.5 overs, 2 maidens, 5 runs, and 2 wickets. And then Charan beautifully complementing the other bowlers, picking up 3 wickets in his 4 overs, and all the other bowlers also chipping it with wickets at regular intervals. So I think, like I said, like the scorecard doesn't look really good for FCC Agni. Like they got all out for 44 in 20 overs, and there were 11 extras by Blazers bowlers. So take out those extras, and they scored 33 off the bat. So that kind of tells like there was no real partnership in the batting, and they just kept losing wickets at regular intervals. And the only resistance that came in the FCC Agni batting was from Deepak and Kritesh Mehta, who kind of stayed for like 6 to 7 overs and trying to build a partnership. But then, like I said, Blazers bowling was on the mark, and they were able to get the opponent out for 44. So once the score was 44, halfway mark, Blazers really fancied their chances, and they just had to do their basics and get over the mark. And in the process, they did lose some wickets, but in the end, they finished it within the 10 overs. They scored 49 for 4. And in those also, like with that less score, Agni again bowling 12 extras did not help them much. So I think they lost. They kind of lost the game when they scored the very less in the first innings. And I think that is one thing that Agni needs to improve if they want to make an impact. I think they are a good team. They still have very good chances of making it to the playoffs, but I think they need to accumulate some wins going on from here at this point in this tournament. So I would like to wish them all the best, and good luck.
Okay, the next game, it's the same question that goes begging every weekend. Jesse, Gladiators versus Dark Horses. Instead of talking about this game, I mean, I was just looking at the net run rate. Okay, Gladiators have 0.7105 as a net run rate. The next highest net run rate in entire league is exactly half to this one. Raptors having 0.4. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I've said this earlier on the show also, but I'll repeat. The brand of cricket that Gladiators are playing, and I think it's great for the league, to be honest. And the reason they are doing so is because they can afford to. If you see the lineup, from 1 to 11, they are match winners. If you see the team that they fielded against Dark Horses in this particular scenario, some of their match winners are still missing. They don't have Hardeep, they don't have Shan in the 11, they don't have Udit, Aditya, so Muneed. I think when they'll move to the playoffs, they'll have a pretty good headache. I mean, it's good to have those headaches of fielding the best 12, and I think their roster speaks for themselves. Because the kind of talent that is on display is unmatched, I think, and I haven't seen in the last 4 or 5 years of my seeing Detroit Cricket League. So the advantage of having so many match winners in those 11-12 players is they what we don't say in cricket is don't rely on others, but what this team can afford is they do not have to think negative in their mind. They do not have to think too much ahead of the game. They can just back themselves to play their shots, especially in the batting department. They can back themselves to express themselves from the ball one. I think they are one team who really are taking advantage of the initial first 3 overs of the power play. And once the tone is set, I think the bowling team is always under pressure, and that's exactly what happened in this particular game. Also, Vaibhav, he's a class act. I've seen him play a lot of with a lot of maturity in leather ball. Also, he's he's one proper batsman, and there's no introduction needed for how Amok can play, how Ronak can play, how Vignesh can play. Vignesh, I think I'm not too sure about Vignesh, but he must be good to be batting at number 4 in this particular Glads lineup. So, and Amit Patel had a great outing. He hit 5 sixes, and Vaibhav hitting 3 sixes too. So, I mean, all in all, they scored in excess of 150, like there's a walk in the park. And this match also they scored 185, and I think I said this earlier also, this could be morale crushing for some of the opponents, but again, my advice to dark horses would be to just forget about this outing as soon as they can and focus on their next games, because this really is sort of a no contest, because not every team is blessed as Glads to have such a ruthless batting lineup, especially. And in reply, dark horses, I think, played 20 overs, scored those 66 runs. That's the department I think they would be disappointed more, because they could have afforded to play those 25 overs, put a score above 100, and make sure that their batsmen get some confidence, because I think otherwise Dark Horse's bowling lineup is doing pretty okay in other matches. But yeah, it's a one-sided affair, and for other teams who got to play Glads, they must take this game as a reality check as to where they stand when it comes to quality opponents.
Before we go to our next game, after Glads are really playing well, but what is the need for manipulating the scorecard? I don't know. They added Viju Jakaraya, who is in India, not here, and which is going to attract fine for them. I see for your 12-man roster should be on the field to enter in the score sheet, but I don't know why Satya is doing this one. Let's see what happens. The next game of the night is TCS Talents versus Raptors. The less we talk about TCA family this weekend is better for them, because they could only manage 28 runs, and the Raptors, they finished it in 3 overs. Quick thoughts, Satish. Satish, are you there?
Yeah. Hi, Jagan. Yeah. As you mentioned, Jagan, yeah, it was again one-sided game. Not sure what's happened. I think we all know what happened to TCS Talent. But this kind of, losing this kind of game, the way they're losing is like pathetic for the team who are always dominating the DCL. So to start with, TCS Talent won the toss and elected to bat. And as we know that it was expected to be one-sided game, and it resulted the same. Crushing victory for Raptors.
Raptors, yeah.
So, yeah. First inning, TCS Talent did not had a good start. Both openers got out without scoring a run, so both were 0. Following by first, second, third down, also all these 5 batsmen could not score anything for TCS Talent. TCA won at one point. TCA was 13 for 5 in 10 overs. Then Weber turned around and he scored quick 15 runs and tried to stay and score some run for the TCS Talent. But I think it was one person could not do much for DCL, and when he got out, TCA lower order also completely collapsed, and TCA ended up with just 28 runs, as you mentioned. Raptor bowling, I think all bowlers were really good. Anil and Sai was, I think they did good for Raptors. Just 5 runs. Anil just gave 5 runs in 4 overs and got 2 wickets. Sai just gave 3 runs in 4 overs and 2 wickets. And I think all other bowlers were also decent. Now, when the Raptors started, there was nothing to talk about Raptors batting. They just caught Praveen, and Pradeep just went, and within 3 overs, I think Praveen was in a hurry to finish the game and go home. And he was very quick to score runs, and 22 runs he scored in just 8 balls, and Raptor just got 29 runs in just 3 overs and winning the game by 10 wickets. I think this is the best win for this week, I believe, based on the score that I was checking. So nothing much to talk about this game.
Yeah, I agree. The next game of the night is Bowls versus Altair. one of the closest encounters of the weekend. Your thoughts, Imti?
Yes, Jagan. I think this was like you mentioned. It was one of the closely contested games of the week, and I'm actually impressed with Altair, like how they have been progressing since the beginning of the season. I think playing against opponents like Rockers, Knockers, and then Raptors kind of put them in perspective. If you go into the details of this game, Altair won the toss and they elected to bat, put up a very good score of 108, considering they're a very new team to this league, and putting up 108, I believe, is a very good effort from their batting unit. The mainstays of their batting was Varun Boba, who scored 26 runs, and then Girish scoring 21, and then a couple of other double-digit scores in the scorecard I see. So it kind of looks a busy scorecard where there were some partnerships going on in the innings, and accumulating those runs in the middle overs. Again, like decent bowling from Indus Bowls. I would have expected much better bowling performance. They could have restricted Altair for a lesser score because if you look at the extras column again, like 20 extras, it's close to one extra per every over. So if you take out those 20 runs, they would have been like 88, so which would have looked totally different when you're going out to chase. So looking at the bowling figures for Indus Bowls, I think Sunil was absolutely spot on with his bowling, picking up 4 wickets for 20 runs, and then well supported by Abhishek, picking up 2 wickets from his 5 overs, and then other bowlers also chipping in with a couple of wickets. Overall, it was a decent bowling performance, but I think Indus Bowls is capable of even better bowling performances considering the lineup that they have in their bowling. So 108, still Indus Bowls were the favorites to win this game, considering their experience in the league, and also they're playing against a considerably new team. So they would have fancied their chances, and I think Biswa really stood up and he said that he would take the team home. A not out 44 runs, that speaks volumes about that innings, because he went in to open the batting and stayed there not out till the end, made sure that his team crossed the line, even though he ran out of partners. Like if you look at the scorecard, the other end was like totally single digit scores until the very last, the second last batsman, who scored 12 runs and gave support in the end. But I think a lot of credit should go to Biswa, because when you're running out of partners and just staying on one end and chasing down the score is really difficult, in especially not only in this league but especially in cricket itself. So I would really laud this innings from Biswa, and rightfully he should be the man of the match here. I think considering the batting lineup of Indus Bowls, I think Altair bowled really well, took the game very deep into the 24th over, but I think they just ran out of steam in the end, where they couldn't close out the game. It was like a matter of like 1 or 2 good balls that could have picked up those 2 extra wickets and got them the victory. But again, in the end, I think experience prevailed, and Indus Bowls held their nerve and won this game. Altair bowling figures, pick of the bowlers was Girish, who picked up 3 wickets. Varun Boba, who picked up 3 wickets in his 5 overs for 19 runs, and also Girish picking up 3 wickets. This kind of I would like to just commend Altair, because I think they're progressing slowly in the league, but well in the right direction. So good days to come, I think, for Altair, and they just need to play more cricket to get used to this league, and better results will follow, I think. So anyways, I think Indus Bowls, good performance, good win in the kitty, and rightfully Biswa is the man of the match, and hard luck Altairs, I would say.
Yeah, very well said about Altair, and they are definitely a team to watch for in coming years. Before I go to our next game, I just received a text from Legends captain Satish, and he said, Glads is one of the strongest batting. I don't know what Dark Horse's captain was thinking when, after winning the toss, he elected fielding. Okay, so that was the comment from Satish. So let's get into our next game. Knockers versus Rockers, which I thought is going to be a very mouth-watering contest, but ended up being an easy game for Knockers. Your thoughts, Jesse?
Yeah, I the result actually shows as if it was a one-sided contest, but I think Team Rockers had their moments if you closely try to follow the scorecard. And so we were there. That this game was played besides on the same ground where Agni and Blazers played. So uh, it to start with, Deepak did what he most of the time do, to put the opponent under pressure early on by dismissing the opener for a duck, and both the openers went cheaply. And after that, the ever so reliable Ganesh, he batted long. I think he went into bat in the very first over or maybe the second over, and he batted till I think 19th or 20th over or maybe 21st over. So uh, he actually made sure that there is no collapse as such, and other batsmen can actually play around him. But to not so much of delight for Rockers, they could not stitch any partnership until Sai Kiran Thota joined Ganesh, and till that point they were 5 down for almost nothing. Their fifth wicket went for 30 in 12th over, and I think from that situation, I know Sai Kiran Thota is their best batsman and their captain also, but uh, had there been a couple of more useful contributions either up front or down the order, they could have crossed 100, which would have put Knockers under more pressure. 80, I think Knockers were always comfortable doing it, but credit has to go to Knockers team for restricting uh, Rockers to 80, because I think if you ask team Knockers that they, are you willing to take 80 against Rockers, I think with the lineup that they had, they would not be too much disappointed. They bowled pretty well actually, and with this ball, actually, you got to have luck on your side too if you want to restrict opponents, quality opponents like Rockers under 80. So I think it was a good job done by Team Knockers, and good useful contributions from Saikir and Thota and Ganesh. But while chasing, I think Knockers were put under pressure, dismissing the top two out of their top three in the very first or second over without any major contributions on the board. Rather, they were none for two in the very first over. And this sort of start actually makes you nervous, to be honest, no matter what team you represent, no matter what sort of talent you have on display. But when you are none for two, it takes a lot of courage and character to cross the line and to get out of that phase and build a partnership. And I think Shashank Gora, again, he must be really good to have been opening in Knockers lineup. So he, along with the captain, he's one of the most seasoned campaigner in the league going around. So Prabhu with Shashank actually uh, put the pressure back on the opponent and actually scored those 44 runs. They had a partnership of 44 runs in 12 overs, so they scored at pretty decent clip too, about almost 4 runs per over. And to get your team out of 0 for 2 to 44, I think they almost were sure that they had the match in their kitty. But what a fine display of uh, closing out the game by Aditya. He's one character I know. I've been playing with him for last couple of years. He's fearless. He sees the ball, hits the ball. I think he's one of the finest additions to Knockers lineup. He's on top of his game. Very confident guy and knows his job. He might give an impression that he does not have the quality of the game, or maybe sometimes, but uh, to be what I've experienced is he delivered results, and I think that's what matters. And he actually just came and conquered the rest of the runs. In just 7 overs, he scored the remaining 40 runs and scoring unbeaten 28, hitting 4 boundaries, 3 sixes, and a 4. And I think Rockers would be a little disappointed with the result. Not exactly result, but how it panned out to be. They had their moments, as I said, but to beat a quality team like Knockers, I think they need to win those crucial moments when they had the team under so much pressure, dismissing both their one of their openers and one down batsman. I think they could have applied a little more pressure and played a little smart. But I think a lot of credit has to go to Knocker's team for getting out of this pressure situations and winning the game for their team.
Okay, very well put together. The next game of the night is Kings 11 versus FCC, which I thought will be the game of the weekend, but ended up, FCC dominating the Kings 11. Your thoughts, Satish?
Hello.
Yeah.
I'm audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think in this case, Kings 11 won the toss and elected to field first. I think just wanted to make a point here. Most of our DCL mates think bowling first is not the right choice, but I believe it's all depend upon captain's understanding on his own team and how much he read the opponent. So sometimes it works if you know your team better and you read better. So I feel it's a decent decision for Kings 11. However, it did not work out in their favor in this particular game. So Kings 11 won the toss and elected to field first. FCC started batting. Hemant gave a good start to FCC, scored 24 runs and had 44-run partnership with Karthik. After all were going fine for Kings 11 until 19 over when FCC were just 61 runs for 6 wickets. But after that, Tejas, I think is FCC captain, he stepped in and played a fantastic 54 runs inning in just 31 balls. I think he hit 3 huge sixes, I believe. And that helped FCC innings to get a very good total to defend. Like 123 they got. I think it's fantastic inning by Tejas, 54 runs. Before that, Kings 11 were actually executing their plans by fielding first, 19 over 61 runs. Kings 11 bowling, Nikhil was the best among all the bowlers. He bowled 5 over and got 3 wickets with just 14 runs. And he was the 6th change for Kings 11 in bowling attack. Durga Prasad was also good. He got 20 runs in 5 over and got 2 wickets. Rest all bowlers were little bit costly, and I guess it was just when Tejas came and started hitting in the last 6 overs. When Kings 11 had 123 to chase, while chasing 124, Kings 11 was needed a good start from top order batsmen, but batsmen failed to give a good start to Kings 11. There are 3 ducks from first 6 batsmen. I think this is somewhere when you are chasing 123, you always want your top orders to perform well, but Kings 11 did not get a good start. Nikhil seems to be holding good, but got run out. So in that day, nothing was going well for the Kings 11, I believe, and game was becoming one-sided. At break, they were 30 for 7 in 12 overs, but Pradeep stepped in at number 8 and scored quick 34 runs and got some support from Durga, who scored another 13 runs. But I think it was little too late, and it was not enough for Kings 11. FCC used bowlers that inning, and Nandisha and Hemant were good with the ball. Nandisha got 3 wickets and Hemant got 2 wickets.
Fantastic.
I think Jagan just wanted to make a point. I think this game little bit looks like India versus New Zealand.
Yeah, I was about to ask you that. When you said, the top order batsmen quickly returned back to pavilion, when I was thinking about India game against New Zealand.
Even when I was reading this game, I was just reminding myself of what, because Dhoni and Jadeja, what game they did, Pradeep and Durga was also doing the same, but I think it was too late to build that partnership.
Okay, we'll talk about that game at the end of our regular session. Okay, and the next game of the night is GLCC versus Tamil Pasanga. The only team that really respects opponents is GLCC. Your thoughts, Imti?
That's an interesting comment, Jagan. But honestly, when I was looking at the scorecard, I was actually a little surprised that Tamil Pasange was able to score 119 against a stalwart team like GLCC, who has one of the best bowling attacks, I believe, in this league. So, but again, like taking nothing away from Tamil Pasange, they have been an improved team this year, and they have been playing some good cricket. unfortunately, they have come across teams like Pokeries, Indus Thunders, who just blowed them away with huge scores. I think the real lacking piece for Tamil Pasange this year is their bowling, because whenever they have bowled first, I think uh, they have conceded a lot of runs. If you go into this game, I think GLCC won the toss and elected to field, so that way Tamil Pasange got a chance to bat first and show their batting mettle here. And I think they did a very good job considering the GLCC bowling attack, scoring 119 runs in the allotted 25 overs. Much thanks to their opening batsman Ashwant, who scored 44 runs. And then he got a very good support from his middle order batsman Nitin Balaji, who scored 30 runs, Ranebol 30 runs, and then again some help lower down the order by Jay, who scored 12 runs. Like there are some low scores in the scorecard, but I think the bulk of the scoring was done by these three people, and then that helped the scoreboard to cross the 100 mark, and they posted a very good score of 119, I believe. If you look at the bowling figures from GLCC, pick of the bowlers, Samish, as usual, the best bowler for GLCC, I believe, throughout the seasons. He picked up 4 wickets for 19 runs in his allotted 5 overs, and then Ashraf, Sudhir, and Ajit picking up 2 wickets each. Again, like decent bowling effort, but like I said, GLCC is expected to bowl out well and restrict the opponents for very much less scores. But again, like they let the opponent score 119 runs, and going halfway into the game, they would have definitely fancied their chances. Obviously, playing against Tamil Pasange, knowing that their weakest link is their bowling. So definitely GLCC was the favourites, but again, they would have been disappointed that they conceded so many runs. So if you look at the GLCC batting scorecard, I think they started off well. Ajit scoring 26 runs, and then Raj Gumbar supporting with 10 runs. But I think the pick of the batting was Naseem Khan, who changed the game in its face completely. He scored 32 runs off 17 balls, which includes 4 sixers. So I think that kind of changed the complexion of the game, and that helped them complete the game in 18 overs. They scored 122 runs for the loss of 5 wickets. I think I would like to term this innings from Naseem Khan as an impact innings, where I think things were just going as usual, just chasing down the target based on the required run rate. But then again, Naseem Khan coming in and scoring those quick 32 runs kind of changed the game and helped them close out the game in 18 overs. Looking at the bowling figures for Tamil Pasange, like I said in the beginning, the weakest link for Tamil Pasange this season is their bowling. And I think against a batting unit like GLCC, they really couldn't stand a chance. And I see all the bowlers going for runs. Looking at the economy rates, only Lakshmi Narayan, who bowled his 5 overs for 15 runs, was their best bowler, even though he didn't get wickets. But I think he kept a check on the runs, and the other bowlers just couldn't restrict the flow of runs from GLCC batting. So all in all, I think it is a good learning experience for Tamil Pasange. And as usual, GLCC getting 5 points after the victory, I think helping them in the race to the playoffs. So just one thing, I think Tamil Pasange needs to kind of concentrate on their bowling and try to improve if they need to get more wins in the league. So good luck to both the teams.
Yep. And the next game of the night is Troy Hawks versus Rising Stars JC. What a fantastic game.
Yeah, I was about to say what a game we had. So I think games like these are making what exactly is people talk about so highly about Detroit Cricket League. I think the competitiveness is what people strive and what people want to see on the ground. And I think Rising Star and Troy Hawks both have been should be credited for a lot of close games. I remember Rising Stars almost for the last 2-3 years. They have won or lost, I think, so many games either by 1 run or by 1 wicket. So I think they are famous for their nail biting finishes. And this time around, I think they would have been a little disappointed ending their first innings on 85. I think Troy Hawks would be reasonably pleased with their effort, because if you see, there was a good partnership that was between Lambagiri and Keyur. which was for, I think, the fourth wicket or the fifth wicket. But when they were 82 for 4, from 82 for 4 to 82 for 7, I think 3 wickets without scoring even a single run, I think damaged their hopes of scoring in excess of 100, 120. And I think they had to reassess and had to be contained with a score of 85, because when you are 82 for 4 in 18 overs and then you are dismissed for 85, I think that sets you back, to be honest. And we say a lot of times that momentum in cricket is very important. I not many players believe, or maybe it's an individual choice, but I think there is a lot of significance of momentum in cricket, because once you end your innings on such a low that it's hard to concentrate on the job on hand in the second innings, because most of the time you're thinking we could easily have been defending 120 or 110 instead of these 85 runs that we have. We have not done justice to our bowlers. We have not done justice to the guys who have given us a good start. So I think over and all, they must be pretty disappointed, and Troy Hawks must be pretty pleased. But what happened in the second half was equally fascinating to if you are a Rising Star campaign or a fan, because they also had a pretty good start with the bowl, and they dismissed they got their first wicket in the fourth over with scorecard reading 7, and then kept on chipping with wickets, but not in heaps. So it was actually a pretty even game. In 15 overs, they were 40 for 5 Troy Hawks. So both teams would have fancied their chances, but I think what happened in the next 4 overs, 18.5, 62 for 6, maybe they would have thought, Rising Star would have thought, it's not our day. But cricket is a funny game. We know it's not over until it's over. So as soon as we saw Shrikant Parasa got dismissed on 62, and then there still was chance. I would like to credit Rising Star here for keeping their heads down, still believing in themselves, and trying to bowl some economical overs, and that's exactly what they did in the next 4 overs. Though the batting team scored those 19 runs, but when they were 81 for 7, I think most of the teams would have said that it's not our day. But as soon as they had the 8th wicket down for 81, if you see the scorecard, the last 2 wickets were, I think, resulted in the form of runouts, and that can only happen when you are creating so much of pressure in the batting department, in the batting team's mind. You're trying to create panic amongst themselves that every run you just cannot score easily. It has to be earned. It has to be over our bodies that you can achieve this target. And I think that's exactly how did it pan out to be. And to Troy Hawks' credit, they have been playing this league and with this ball for, I think, 2-3 years now. But I see this team, they have quite a few youngsters, quite a few newcomers, and you got to learn how to soak the pressure, and you can only do by being a participant in such situations, being on the crease in such situations. I think Troy Hawks would be really, really upset with the outcome of this game. But these games, I think they are great ambassadors for this league and for the game of cricket. And congratulations to Rising Star, and tough luck to Troy Hawks.
Okay, the next game of the night is Lions versus Stingers. I think this is the first win for Lions, finally. Your thoughts, Satish?
Yes, Jagan, it was the first win for Lions. So to start with, Stranger won the toss and elected to bat first. Strangers didn't had a good start. Their opener couldn't score much. But Abhijit and Raghu, for the second wicket partnership, they had a really good partnership and they stabilized the inning and had 30-run partnership. Abhijit scored 26 runs, Raghu scored 11 runs. As soon as this Lions are able to break this partnership, all other Stranger batsmen could not stay on the pitch and score some runs for Stranger. and at the end, Stranger could not ended up with a big total, and they got 676 run, and they got all out. And this 76 run includes 16 extras from Lions, so otherwise they would have a little bit even lesser if extra would have been controlled by Lions. From Lions bowling, Sudhir got the max wicket. He got 3 wickets in 4 overs and just gave 12 runs. Other bowlers like Bharat, Sundra, and Nataraj also bowled with very good economy and got the wicket for the Lions too. When Lions started with chasing 77 runs, uh, Lions also lost the first 2 wickets very quickly. But after that, Nataraj had a good partnership for Lions, and I think they made the game for Lions. Nataraj scored 20 runs and Vishnu scored 15 runs. After getting Nataraj and Vishnu out, Stranger tried to come back to the game, but they got few wickets, but I think they did not had a good total to defend. And at the end of the game, Lions won comfortably with 2 wickets in hand. From the Stranger bowling, Raghu I think did really good bowling. He got 4 wickets, 5 overs and 24 runs he gave, and Saran just bowled 2.5 overs and got 3 wickets. And Chetan was also good. I think Chetan was their strike bowler, and he got 2 wickets and just gave 14 runs. So he was very economical bowler. Yeah, Lions got his first win, and I hope they will try to get positive and have more wins in the coming games.
I wish the same too. We have 5 more games. Let's quickly push through these games so that we can wind up in time. Okay. The next game of the night is Marcos versus Safari. After a century, Arjun Chittimani, is nowhere there to be here. Now again, he is back with a bang of 67, somewhere 60 plus runs. Your thoughts, Imti?
Yes, Jagan, I think this game completely belonged to Arjun Chittimani, who was the find of the season last year for in the league last year, who scored a century, and he was the only centurion last year. So I think a lot of credit should go to Marco's team because in this game they were batting first, and at one point they were 37 for 5, and from there coming back to a total score of 146. That is a commendable performance, I would say. Thanks to close to 90-run partnership for the 6th wicket between Arjun and Satya. This was a very beautifully played, I would say, a good comeback by the first batting team to score 146 runs. And Arjun Chittimani scoring 67 runs, run a ball, which includes 5 sixers. So that shows how good a batsman he is, and he can score those big runs pretty easily. 146 runs in halfway through, I think Marcos would have been definitely confident because comparatively Safaris hasn't been doing really well this season, and they're at the bottom of the table currently, and definitely Marcos would have fancied their chances. And to be honest, like if we look at from a personal experience, we have played against both these teams, and from a skill level point of view, I would say Marcos definitely has an upper hand if you compare the players between both the teams. But Safaris also has some good players, but I think they need to step up here. If you look at the batting scorecard for Safaris, really not much contribution from their batsmen. Like all we see is like single-digit scores, where somebody had to step up and perform and try to score those runs, at least give a fight back. But I think losing wickets at regular intervals and really did not help, and they got bundled out for 77 in 18 overs. I think pick of the bowlers was Damodaran, who picked up 5 wickets, and I think that really shut down the game for Safaris there. So a good win for Marcos, and I definitely believe they would cause some stir in Pune and maybe get the playoff race interesting in Pune.
Okay. The next game of the night is FSCC versus SSK. Man, SSK team is a really good team, and it's a team to watch out because I've seen these guys, and I was umpiring this game, so those were my thoughts. And Jesse, your thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree. And they have been proving this with the sort of results that they have been producing. To score 115 against FHCC, which is a decent bowling lineup, speaks volume of their batting effort. Useful contributions from Arun, scoring those 25 runs, hitting 3 boundaries, 2 sixes and a 4. Fantastic. Again, they got a decent opening partnership, or not the partnership, but a contribution from one of their openers, 14 of 28. And then Yuvraj scoring those 17 runs, taking his time, making sure that they cross 100. And down the order, a useful 13, almost run a ball by Vikas Sanghvi. He's a ex-Warriors player, and he's a very useful contributor both with bat and ball. He bowls some lovely off spins, also off breaks, which tend to confuse batsmen as if there will be turn or not. So I think good contribution by 3 or 4 players. That's what you need in your batting department to score those 115, and then back it up a fantastic way with their bowling. Arun again chipping in with 2 wickets. Manjunath, I've heard a lot of good things about this guy. He's a left-hand bowler, I think. He got 3 wickets also. Most of the time, he's a difficult bowler to face up front with the new ball, and I think he got SSK off to a perfect start, dismissing 2 wickets in the very first over of him, and after that there was no looking back, and FHCC could never recover. I think FHCC has to pull up their socks a little bit, because playoff is going out of their sight if they keep on losing games like these. And I think SSK proves to be a serious contender for playoff this year.
Yeah. So the next game of the night is Indus Thunders versus Blues. Man, when you score 1 or 2, and the only expectation will be either you beat your opponent or make it a close game. Okay, but Thunders, they scored it in 11 overs. Your thoughts, Imti?
Yes, Jagan. I think eventually this game kind of ended up a one-sided game in the end. But if you look at the scorecards, like, you never expect that this would be a one-sided game. I think both these teams kind of have some history also, because they tied a game a couple of seasons ago, and that also was an interesting matchup before the game started. Blues, they won the toss and elected to bat here, scoring 102 runs. I think they also made a very good comeback, in the previous game when I was talking about Marcos. I think the similar situation here for Blues. They were 42 for 7 at one stage, and then a 70-run partnership for the 8th wicket. Main reason for that, Chanakya, who scored 39 runs from 30 balls, including 5 sixers. So again, that innings was a special one, which helped them cross that 100-run mark. And he got the good support from Nadeem Khan also in the batting department. I think crossing that 100-run mark psychologically would have been good for Blues going halfway into the game. If you look at the bowling scorecard, bowling performance from Indus Thunders, I think the regular usual bowling figures, I would say, like their main bowlers picking up wickets, Vijay picking up 3 wickets, Dinesh picking up 3 wickets, Manoj Singh picking 2 wickets. I think it was an overall good bowling performance, sharing the wickets between themselves. And they would have slightly been disappointed that they couldn't close out the game even before in their bowling, letting them score those 100 runs. But I think definitely, after looking the second inning scorecard, they just made a meal out of that chase, scoring those 100 plus runs in 11 overs. That is absolutely ruthless, I would say, from Indus Thunders. Manoj Singh staying not out till the end, scoring 35 runs, very well supported by Verma, 35 runs, and all these runs were scored more than with more than 100 strike rate. So that tells you that there was absolutely no pressure from Blues bowlers. And if interesting factor was the very first over of the innings went for 18 runs, and I think that really set the tone for Indus Thunders batting. So not much sweat, I would say, from Indus Thunders, and this really would put a lot of confidence into Indus Thunders going forward into the league, and I think they will definitely bring back some of those performances when they were champions. So I think all in all, it was a good game for Indus Thunders, and I think Blues need to come up with other ideas to win games. So
Okay, the next game of the night is Knight Riders versus Dynamites. Dynamites are slipping fast in a tight pool. Your thoughts, Satish?
Yes, Jagan. So yeah, Dynamite is a good opponent, Jagan, but I think it was not their day, which made game easy for us. So to start with, Dynamite won the toss and they elected to bat first. Our bowler started with very disciplined bowling, but we were only able to manage one wicket at the first 8 overs. Generally, we used to get more wickets. Our strike bowlers are really good to get the quick wicket for us. Arun from the Dynamites, I think he's one of the fantastic batsmen, and he was scoring good for Dynamites. But as soon as we got him, Dynamites batting is completely collapsed. Our bowlers were really quick to get their wickets, and we got them all out in 66 runs in 17.5 overs. Ronak, Ronnie was the best bowler from our side. He bowled 5 overs with 3 maiden in just 4 runs and got 3 wickets. Fantastic bowling by Ronnie. He's phenomenal in all the innings if you see the scorecard. And Bilal and myself also got the 2 wickets, and rest all the bowlers were also very good and very disciplined. We just gave 5 extra, which is really good, I believe, for the DCL game. Then when we started to chase, it was just 60 runs for us, but we too lost 2 quick wickets at the beginning of the game. But after that, after losing the 2 wickets, there was a good partnership between Vihar and myself, and we scored around 30 plus runs, and followed by a good partnership between Sayesh and Vihar too. Uh, and Vihar was phenomenal from our side, and he played a winning knocks for KRCC, and he scored 29 runs, and he was not out at the end. From Dynamite's bowling side, Khalil was impressive with the ball. He bowled 5 overs, 9 runs, and 2 wickets. And overall, it was comfortable win for us, Jagan.
Good. The next game and the last game of the night is Detroit Bulls versus Strikers. I think nothing is going right for Bulls this year. Your thoughts, Jesse?
Yeah, I think just like other game, Troy Hawks versus Rising Stars. Here also we saw a collapse, but not in the lower middle order, but rather in the top order of strikers. So to come back from a situation where you are reading 43 for 7, and that too in 17 overs, scoring 54 runs in 8 overs with the help of last 3 batsmen. I think that's not going to happen every day. So I think Detroit Bulls would be cursing themselves for letting this happen, and strikers would be. I would give a lot of credit to Pankaj, Sagar, and Kapil, but they would understand. I think hopefully they would understand that this is not the ideal situation to be in when you bat first. So, but if you talk about this game, I think an excellent comeback by Team Strikers from being 43 for 7 in 17 overs and getting those 97 runs, which if you bowl smartly, if you bowl with your heart out, you can always defend. It's a target which both teams might be liking. That as if we can chase 97, yes, we can defend 97, yes. So I think strikers proved that the momentum that they gained, they'll not let it slip, and they had the early wickets in the name of opener Sujit and Bharat. Both were dismissed cheaply, and then they had a decent partnership in between Nikhil and Gino. Gino, I think, is the most seasoned player of this particular team, and I think they need to make Jagdish take more responsibility when it comes to batting. They have to bat him high. He's a class act. He can contribute more, especially while you are chasing and you have lost few wickets. I think your best batsman need to face most of the deliveries and try to soak the pressure. I think it was a mistake on the strategy part of Bulls, but they have themselves to be blamed for not able to chase, and it's not losing. It's the way they are losing some of the games that is gonna hurt them back when it comes to the playoff race, because chasing 97, I think they were knocked out of the game pretty soon. They were 56 for 7, and then after that 56 they lost their 8th wicket, and then there was no looking back. And I think a lot of credit has to go to strikers team for sticking in. Rahul Pawar taking 3 wickets, Parthiv getting 3 wickets, Vivek getting 2 wickets, and I think overall a good game for strikers. But I think Detroit Bulls, like FHCC and some other teams, have to pull their socks if they need to be in contention for playoffs.
Okay, with that we concluded last week games, and let's quickly get into predictions. The first game of the night is Gladiators versus Blazers, and League is waiting for this game. And anyhow, I'm not going to ask both Jesse and Imti. I'll give Satish. Satish, pick who is going to win.
Jagan, it is one of the difficult game to pick a winner. I think this is a game for the DCL League, their pool, and I think I must go and see that game if I wouldn't have a game by myself. Very difficult, Jagan, but considering past games, past years, I would go with Glads, but I think it's gonna be very good game.
Very good game. Yeah.
I sorry to interrupt. I mean, on roster basis, Jagan, on talent in both teams, I don't think it's even a match. When you said the league is waiting for it, I really appreciate that people have been anticipated for this contest. But for us, Team Blazers, I mean, I'm not speaking on Imti's behalf. That's my personal view. We start this game from quite behind. As I said, Team Glads is way ahead as when it comes to pre-match situations. But I think what is in our hand is to try and give our best shot.
Okay. The next game is Safaris versus Panthers. Imti. Imti, are you there?
What was the game?
Safaris versus Panthers.
Panthers.
Jesse.
Yep, Panthers for me.
Satish.
I will also go with Panthers.
Okay. MI Rangers versus Marcos. Imti.
I would go with MI Rangers.
Jesse.
Yep, MI Rangers for me too.
Satish.
I think it's gonna be a close game, but I'll also pick MI Rangers.
Raptors versus FCC. Imti. Raptors. Okay, Jesse.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be a game between Raptors bowling versus FCC batting. I think this might be the game of the week, but I think Raptors are gonna be winning this one.
Satish.
Raptors for me too.
Okay, with the way Falcons going and Falcons versus Indus Bowls, what are the chances for Bowls? Imti.
I know Falcons is having a okay season so far, but I think if you look at Falcons' history, they always come back from difficult situations, and I'm pretty sure they will come back from this game and win this one.
Jesse.
Yeah, I think Falcons would be low on confidence, but I'll back them this week to win against Bolts.
Satish.
Yeah, even I will pick Falcon.
Okay. Kings 11 versus Altair. Imti.
I think this is a difficult one, but just based on experience, I think Kings 11.
Okay, Jesse.
Yep, Kings 11 for me too.
Satish.
Kings 11 for me too.
Wow. Rising Stars versus Dynamites. Imti.
Oh, this is a really good matchup, I would say. The way both the teams are playing, it should be a close contest. I will give it to Rising Stars.
Jesse.
Yep, I agree with Imti, but I'll give it to Dynamites.
Ooh. Satish. Tiebreaker.
Yeah, I'll go with the Rising Star. Just one thing. Dynamites have key players. A Rising Star, they are always been with the team effort. So I'll pick a Rising Star.
Okay. Brownstone versus Indus Thunders. Game of the weekend. Huh? Imti.
Absolutely stalwart teams. So I think with the way Indus Thunders are playing, I would just them to continue their form. Indus Thunders for me.
Jesse,
Yep, Indus Thunders.
Satish.
Indus Thunders.
Stingers versus Fokeries. Imti.
Pokeries.
Yep, Pokeries.
Satish.
Pokeries for me too.
Okay. Another good game of the weekend is MCC Miles versus Lions. Imti.
I'll go with MCC Miles.
Jesse.
Yep, I'll go with MCC Miles too. But yes, as you said, this might be one of the closest games too.
Satish.
Yeah, it might also be a close game. I will also pick MCC Miles.
Wow. Risers versus Dark Horses. Imti.
I would really want Dark Horses to win, but I think Risers will take this one.
Jesse.
I think this would be a game between Risers bowling versus Dark Horses batting. Somehow I have a feeling Dark Horses will triumph this one.
Wow. Okay. Satish.
I think Riser will get this game.
Okay. The next one is Canton 11 versus FCC Agni. Wow. It's another good game. Imti.
Just looking at the matchups, I think there are like really interesting matches this weekend, and it's really exciting to just wait for this weekend games. And for this one, Agni versus Canton 11, I think it will be a very good game. But just the firepower with Canton 11, I will go with Canton 11.
Okay, Jesse.
I'll go with Agni.
Satish.
I will also go with FCC Agni.
Okay, the next game is Rockers versus Mustangs. Before I ask you guys, it's at this game is at Baumgartner. Probably this will be moved to Joseph Delia, and the next game is also anything that is at Baumgartner will be moved to Joseph Delia. Is what I'm guessing right now. I'm still in talks. Even the lights, I don't know whether they are working or not. So I just got that news this evening before our show. So probably I'm looking at these two games getting moved, and they want the night games also in the daytime. But I said that is not possible because of a short period that we have for the teams. So. Okay, Rockers versus Mustangs. I'm guessing Rockers 3-0. Any objections there?
Yep, I think Rockers.
Okay.
Yep.
The next one is Knight Riders versus Blues. Knight Riders 3-0. Any objections there?
Nope. Knight Riders it is for me.
Okay, the next game is GLCC versus Knight Riders. I'm not asking Satish, but you guys can decide. Imti.
I don't know, playing two games in a week for KRCC, managing resources. I know Satish is here. I can ask him directly, but I think GLCC will have a little edge over KRCC in this game.
Jesse.
Why is that so? Why there are two games for KRCC?
This is the rained out game.
Oh, okay. I think KRCC will win this one.
Okay. So, just in case if I can't find a replacement at 6:30, this game may be cancelled. Even the next one.
Oh.
Legends versus Knockers. Imti.
Oh wow, this is a boring contest. The games just become interesting. So
yeah, so this weekend is the best weekend, I think.
Probably yes, and we are also in the halfway mark of the season, so it's really interesting to have these kind of matchups the start of the second half. So Legends versus Knockers, very tough to pick. I think I'll give this to Legends.
Wow. Okay. Jesse.
I'll give this one to Knockers, but just 51-49 to Knockers.
Satish.
Another close game, but I'll give it to Knockers.
Okay. I hope Satish of Legends Captain Satish is listening this one, and hopefully, he'll give us a different story after the game. Okay, with that, let's conclude tonight's show with the last words from our panel. Imti.
Yes, Jagan, again, I'd like to thank all our listeners for coming back and listening here. Like we have been discussing the predictions, a lot of interesting matchups. I would say at least the 12 out of 15 games are very interesting, and it's a very good start to the second half of the season. And may the best teams win. And also, just a word of caution: the weather is really hot, so hopefully all the players take care of being hydrated and play the games in good spirit. So all the best to all the teams. Thank you.
Drink plenty of water. Jesse.
Yep. Thank you to all the listeners, and I think we are into the most exciting week of this year's Detroit Cricket League so far. And I think every one of us will be discussing when we come back next week about the games, and hopefully the better teams win.
Satish.
Yeah, I would also like to thank our listener, and I think this will be exciting week as Jassi Bhai and MP mentioned. I'm looking forward to scroll the scorecards for whole this week from morning Saturday.
Cool. With that, we'll conclude tonight's show. Keep listening DCL Talk Show on DCL Radio. Good night.